let's talk about food, shall we? You see, I'm under the impression that we should leave vegan to herbivores. Why? You see, there are 4 types of animals in this world, if we summarize. First, there are herbivores and carnivores, and these divide into ruminants and gut fermenters, and these divide into facultative and obligate. So only 4 types of animals in the world if we truly simplify. Ruminants, as the name suggests, have a rumen. They have 4 compartment stomachs, which makes their ideal diet, at least according to the internet, mostly greens and seeds. Grains are actually seeds. Most of those that we call nuts are actually seeds. From the whole food pyramid, ruminants, according to the internet, thrive on this. What about gut fermenters? For example, here you might have cow, you might have some deer, some bison, some goat, some sheep, and here you might have something like an ostrich or a horse. According to the internet, they thrive on high fiber vegetables and some occasional fruits. You see, from the whole food pyramid, they are not doing this, they are not doing those others, they are mostly doing this. So each specific type of animal has each specific type of food. You don't see cows eating other types of food. They are specific. They don't have a varied diet. These guys don't have a varied diet. You can see, oh, but they eat carrots and apples. That's varied, but that's within herbs, meaning plants. Here the same, and it's within the same type of food. So even if you call that variety, it's still the same categories. Let's skip this one for a moment and let's go to obligate carnivores. These are cats, felines, and even wild canines like wolves. Meat, and if they find, for example, fox love these, eggs. So you might say, oh, but that's varied. They eat bison and deer and zebra and this and that. By the way, zebras are right here. They are basically horses. So this is not variety. This is animal-based foods. Either they eat the flesh or they eat what's coming. What about facultative carnivores? This is where the so-called omnivores fit. Omnivores don't exist. Either you're an herbivore and you convert carbs into short-chain fatty acids, or you are a carnivore and you convert fat into, so you already have the fat here, but these ones need fat by itself to convert it into ketones. Thus, every type of animal in the world doing a species appropriate diet is actually in keto or an equivalent of keto. So what does a pig, let's try to draw a pig here, or a human, which are facultative carnivores, adapted to eat? Meat and eggs, sure, just like obligate, but we are adapted to eat some fruits, and in the wild, this some means occasional, because that's what's natural. Today's fruits, so ancestral, keto fruits, this is what's natural. So today's apple is, you've already guessed it, artificial. That's right. And so, as a human, you should be doing mostly this, and you can have some fruits as long as you're thoughtful. You can go for specific berries. People like, for example, Dr. Eric Berg, who follows a keto diet, eats berries daily, from what I understood. You can eat some specific vegetables. You see, something like a squash is actually a fruit. That's right. So there are so-called vegetables that are actually fruits. A fruit means that there is a tree or a plant or whatever that has leaves and a trunk and whatever, and they occasionally will give and will drop by itself some whatever pieces. They don't need those, so they don't fill them with a lot of chemicals because they want somebody to eat them, to poop them later another place, which greatly opposes grains, which as seeds that they are, and because they don't want you to put the seed elsewhere, they want to grow exactly where they're born, because mother grain will perish and it wants its children to get born in the exact same place. And thus fruits are whatever comes out of any sort of plant that the plant even drops it off and it doesn't need it to live. On opposition with, for example, what we call greens, which are the leaves, it needs it for photosynthesis. The trunk, the bark, for example, cinnamon, the plant needs it to protect itself. The roots, like what we call carrots. Carrots is not a plant, it's a root of a plant. So the plant needs it to survive. The tubers, plants need tubers as a power reserve. And so there are some animals around here which have adapted defenses to the plant chemicals that, because the plant can't run, it has developed chemicals, natural ones, defense ones, all over its leaves, all over its bark and trunk, all over its tubers and roots. But these animals have developed a counter action to be able to do a diet based off of this. But we have minimal of that. We can do some of these. Some people are doing this high starchy diet or whatever, because we indeed can do some of this, but we can do this fully, the same way as they can do this fully. And thus, go for this. You only need this, actually. You only need nose to tail and water. You only need to eat entire animals, especially herbivores, but not necessarily, and drink water. It's the only thing you do. But if you prefer to simplify and only eat steaks, then you need to add sodium as a supplement. Let's call it supplement because it's what it is. And some water. So 3 ingredients for practicality purpose. This is facultative. This is for sure facultative. And there are a lot of people who are sensitive to this. So make sure you do an IgG food sensitivity test to make sure you're not eating something which your body isn't so happy consuming. Some people, after eating something, even, how do you call it, natural ones, which are where the chickens are fed pasture, yeah, that's right, pasture raised eggs. Some people, after eating this, get mad. Why? Because the body gets inflamed and whatnot, because it has antibodies to those eggs or to dairy or to whatever foods that are incredible, but body has antibodies, has developed because you probably eat very cheap eggs in the past. So now you can only do this, I guess. So make sure you do what works for you. My conclusion of today is that, yeah, herbivores, meaning herb, plants, like ruminants and like iron gut fermenters, have a proper diet, a specific diet, and even each one of these categories has specific categories within the food pyramid, the food categories. And carnivores, meaning carn, from the Latin or whatever, means meat. Either you're a facultative or obligate carnivore, which you are a facultative, you are not a cat, I guess. So you should be eating mostly meat. But we as facultatives have some ability to do this. And if you are an athlete, there is some research coming out later this year that says that within keto, so under 50 grams per day of these will actually equal improved gym performance. But while doing exercise, while exercising, you can improve your gym or exercise performance by consuming up to 50 grams a day. So a 5-hour workout, consume 10 grams every hour. But this is kind of pushing it. So maybe do under 30. So 30 grams of carbs within 3 hours. I hope this helped you somehow. If it did, or if you enjoyed for any whatever reason this video, please leave a like. It helps me a lot. If you know somebody who can benefit from this, please send them the video. You want to check more videos about body, or sometimes around mind, or even around home, I post out those as well, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. You see, things like this are tools for life. From the moment you understand this and you start applying this, you will start feeling much better, because you know, health, whether it's physical, which is probably the most overrated type of health, but above that, mental health, and even above that, emotional health starts right here. If you don't do a species appropriate diet, you will get mad. Do you remember mad cow's disease? Most people have mad human disease. People are going to the hospitals by huge numbers. People are not having the health they should be because they are eating what they should not. So make sure you try this out, even for 2 months that it is. Challenge yourself, because let's be honest, the first month it's a transition, it's not pretty. You will feel like anew. You might be bipolar, OCD, schizophrenic, whatever you can call it. This will fix all of those. If you don't believe me, check testimonies online.